Hi, this is Trevor Conquergood. Welcome to this week's RNK Software Club's video for the week. Our topic for this week is about how you can create outlines around a text segment. If you're ready to get started, let's bring my workspace nice and large. And you'll see that I've got my name on the screen and a cool outline. This is often what people do when they're making like cool luggage tags or key rings, that kind of a thing. To get started, the first thing I want to point out is that this here is our Create Outlines tool. And if you have, for example, an embroidery design on your screen, all you would need to do is select that design, and then the tool Create Outlines becomes available. And when you turn on Create Outlines, the question is, how many outlines do you want? You can make one or more. So if I set this to, let's say, 3 outlines, I have the option of having them cascade, so one after the other, or spiral, so it becomes one outline that kind of goes around and around and around 3 times. You get to control how far around each outline is with this parameter here, is this spacing. It's set at 0.2 of an inch. And basically, if I just say okay, you'll see what it does. It outlines around the bunny. Now, you're not noticing it, and that is probably because the color at the end of this design is white. And so here, let me just select that last color and change it to be pink so that you can see there's the outlines that we created. And so it's quite an easy tool to use. You simply select, whatever you want to outline and then choose the tool. Now, this is kind of the trick of today's video, because the Create Outline tool does not actually work on text segments. And so that's why we're making the video, is to kind of show how do you do it then. Because notice when I have this text segment selected, that the tool for Create Outlines is not becoming available. And you could make this be kind of any text you want and click apply. And if you wanted to create an outline around it, kind of like I have for my name, Trevor, maybe to make, for example, a key tag or a luggage tag, how do you create the outline, Trevor? And so there's probably multiple ways that we can do it, but the unfortunate part is the Create Outlines tool doesn't work with text. It only works with embroidery designs or embroidery shapes. So I guess one option would be to break apart the text. That would work if we right clicked and said break up text. Then if I select the resulting letters, so basically when you break up text, you go from having, the word Floriani into, if you look in your sequence, you have an F and an L and an O. And if I select all of those things, then yes, I can use my Create Outlines tool to create 3 ripples, around the word Floriani, just like I did around the bunny rabbit. And so that's one option, is to break apart the text. The one downside of breaking apart the text is you kind of lose your ability to select it and change the word. What if you're doing a series of these, one for Trevor, and then one for someone else? Well, you'd kind of have to start over because you broke apart the text. So I guess the other way, so if you have a text segment and you want to create an outline around it, but you don't want to break it apart, then what we might do is use, and I'll just show you up here, we have the ability to add nap control. So this is a different tool that we normally use when we're doing towels. And what nap control does is it creates an outline around the text, but it fills that outline in with the mesh, as you may recall. And so let me click on the tool so you can see how it brings up a very similar kind of window, but this time it says nap blocker. You still get to set the distance that it goes around. I guess we no longer have the ability to do multiples like we did with the, the Create Outlines tool. But what you'll find is that you do have the ability to check to add a finishing run stitch. So if I click right now, watch what happens. It creates the mesh. And if you look in your sequence, it's created the mesh for the word my and a run stitch outline for the word my. And then the mesh for the word text and a run stitch outline for the word text. Well, we don't actually need the mesh for the application that we're doing. I can just select that mesh and remove it. And what I'm left with is the run stitch outlines around the text. And so I guess the point here is if you've got a text segment that you wanted to do, and so now I can copy my text segment and I can make that say, another name, Jason, click apply. And so it's still a text segment, but what I can do is I can click on the nap control tool, make sure that it's adding the extra run stitch, set the distance that makes you happy. And when you say okay, it makes 2 layers, but then you can simply select the mesh layer and just remove it. And you're left with the run stitch that you wanted. So there's one more little tip that I can give for today, and that's how, if you're making a key tag, you may need to add like a large sort of rectangle. This is the part that you put the snap in, and it goes around. You put a snap kind of like here and there, and then it can wrap around. Does it make sense? Sort of flat like this. I'll show you guys what I mean here. I've got one in my hand. This is the luggage tag. And so what we're saying is this part here that goes around the snap, you may need to create a rectangle off of your word like that. So can you see how the rectangle goes? So how would that be added? So let's go ahead and what I'm saying is on the screen, if I wanted to add that same kind of rectangular space, maybe to the word Jason. So first of all, let's just use our rectangle tool to create the shape of it. So I'll go ahead and imagine a little sort of tab that went, maybe that's what it looks like. Now, what I've made is the rectangle, and I still have the outline of the word Jason. And what I really want to do is meld them or weld them together. And so to weld, what I need to do, this is a run stitch right now, and this one over here is artwork. And what I really want is for them both to be artwork. So if I select the run stitch and I click on the yellow star at the bottom, that will take the stitches out. And so you can kind of see now that I've got one shape for the outline of the word Jason and a totally different shape for the little sort of tab that we want. And what I'll do is select both. So there's probably lots of ways to do that, but probably the easiest one would be to select one over here on the right-hand side so I can see all the pieces, and then hold down my control key and click on the other piece. So now I've selected both the tab and the outline of the word Jason. And now we're going to use up here in our sort of green tool group. This is where this tool right here, if I click on it, it's got a series of tools: trim, weld, intersect, exclude, and divide. Well, weld is the one that we want to use. So I click on weld. There. So now I have an outline around the word Jason with an extra little tab that I could use. And I'll just convert that back into a run stitch now, and so that it becomes, the embroidery element that you need. And so if you're wanting to make a luggage tag or a name tag, and you were wondering how you could create a nice contouring outline around the text, and how you could also add to it a little tab like that, then today's video was just for you, and we hope you enjoyed it. If it was difficult, maybe watch it again. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out to us at R&K. We're always happy to answer questions. And so until then, have a great day. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.